What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So for this horror news update, Morten Tyldum to direct pilot for Cape Fear series at Apple TV Plus CCH Pounder joins the cast. So I'll say, I've seen CCH in a number of things, a number of TV series, but I will say, as you've heard me use this reference or this saying before, she would not have been on my bingo card for being casted in this potential new take or new updated version of the story for Cape Fear. I'm not sure what role she'll be playing in, but nonetheless, she's a great actress. So it'll be interesting to see what they will be casting her in and what role she'll be playing, or whether or not it's just going to be a potential guest role or a very small supporting part. We'll have to see if in this article it tells us a little bit more. But again, we do have Morten Tyldum coming in to direct the pilot. So let's take a look at some of these article details here and see if we can learn anything new as far as what role she might be playing. Variety reports that Morten Tyldum has been tapped to direct the pilot for Apple's upcoming Cape Fear series and executive produce. My apologies. Additionally, the great CCH Pounder has joined the cast, which includes Javier Bardem, Amy Adams, and Patrick Wilson. And those three we've covered off on as far as when they were casted. I think all three of them are great in their own right. I am happy to see, I know Patrick Wilson just recently finishing up, on the whole Conjure universe and all those films. I know he recently wrapped up the last one he's going to be involved in. I think it was late last year, early this year. So good to see that he's still out there going to be taking on some stuff and still within, I think, the horror genre. I would see Cape Fear as more of a psychological thriller type film. And I do view psychological films, many of them, as a subgenre of horror. So glad to see he's still staying in the space for the time being. All right, so based on John D. MacDonald's 1957 novel, The Executioners, Cape Fear, quote, will follow what unfolds after killer Max Cady, who will be played by Bardem, is released from prison and seeks out the Bodens, who will be played by Adams and Wilson, who he blames for his sentence. The 10-episode series has been described as a tense Hitchcockian thriller that will examine America's obsession with true crime in the 21st century. It's not known who Pounder will play in the series, but she's always a very welcome addition to any project. Okay, so that's unfortunate. I don't know who she's going to be playing, but we obviously know who Adams, Wilson, and Bardem will be playing. I am glad to see we do have a confirmation of episode count here. So we're getting 10 full episodes, which you've heard me say when we cover off on other TV series. I'm not a fan of 8 episodes. I usually like to see TV series run between 10 to 12 because I feel that gives them enough runway where they're not rushing the story. They have enough time to, gives us some time to be introduced to the characters, maybe a little bit of backstory, and then tell the current story in the current time that the series is taking place in. And also taking into account that normally or typically around episode 4 or 5, we're getting a filler episode that doesn't really amount to much or doesn't really add all that much to the story moving forward. And that's usually what we get, like flashbacks, or again, we're just being introduced to additional supporting characters. So nothing really ever exciting really happens in that 4th or 5th episode. So happy to see that we're at least getting 10. Tyldum has plenty of small screen experience under his belt. He directed all 8 episodes of Apple's Defending Jacob miniseries, helmed 3 episodes of Silo, also on Apple TV, and directed the pilot episode of Prime Video's Jack Ryan series starring Jack Krasinski. Let's see if there's anything else here. We have just some additional as far as older information. All this we've covered off. I'm just scanning it really quick here, everybody. All this paragraph here, this next one, we've covered this off on the previous casting updates that came out. So none of that's really new information. We already know executive producers are going to be Steven Spielberg and Martin Scorsese. All that we already know. We already know about the original novel and the original film that was done back in 1991 with Robert De Niro and Nick Nolte, Jessica Lange. So we know all that. Pounder will next be seen. So this is just talking about what we're going to see her in next, which will be the Naked Gun, the reboot of that series that stars also Liam Neeson. And that looks to be it for as it relates to the Cape Fear news in this article. So I'm all for it as far as the casting goes. It's just be interesting to see what role again they're going to cast her in, because I'm just trying to think off the top of my head from the novel and the 1991 film. I'm not really sure what role she would be fitting into, especially if she's going to be a predominant like supporting role in all 10 episodes. So again, she might just be someone who pops up maybe in episode 2 and doesn't come back until, you know, like 5 or 6. You know, again, just kind of popping up as more of a guest appearance and guest star versus actually being, you know, throughout the entire story and an integral part of this 10 episodes. So and as far as Tyldum goes, I mean, obviously he's doing a lot for Apple TV. Sounds like they like his work, so I'm excited to see what he'll be doing for the pilot. Now, we don't know when we're getting this pilot. It sounds like any other TV series, they'll probably do a pilot and then show it to those who make the decisions, who hold the purse strings, and then decide, yep, go ahead, move forward with the full with the rest of the 9 episodes, and let's do this. So I'm not a big proponent, and you guys have heard me say this before when we get into this whole remake reboot discussion. I never would have thought we'd be getting a Cape Fear TV series. I mean, again, the film that we got originally was in 1991, so we are well far removed from that film. I just feel like, and I've said this before, that TV studios executives keep going back to the well that is, in my opinion, running dry or is on the brink of completely dry, because we're going back to the 80s, the 90s, and trying to find what's a cult classic, what was popular, and then we're really then pushing out that remake reboot, or in this case, we're also doing it as a TV series versus a feature film. So not sure how. I've never been a big proponent of that, but I will give this TV series a chance. I remember the 1991 film. I still think it stands on its own feet even today after all these years. If you haven't seen it, I recommend go see it. But as I've mentioned time and time again, when it comes to films, you know, back then, if you were not an 80s, 90s, 70s kid or whatever, and you go back and watch those films, they're very much a product of their time. So just keep that in mind if you're going back and watching some older content and you're a bit younger. So, and it's hard to believe, and it's hard to even fathom that saying that 1991 is older content, but it is. So, all right, everyone, that's going to do it for this horror news update. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think about Morten Tyldum coming in to direct the pilot, and the additional casting of CCH Pounder joining the Cape Fear Cast TV series, where we will be getting 10 episodes, and they're going to be doing the pilot hopefully here soon. And then maybe in the next couple months, we'll hopefully get maybe a teaser, or at least start getting even the green light for the full series to kick off. So, and if you haven't done so, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, we'll see you at the next one. Peace.